Twitter boiled with outrage today as a man who dared to take on Karti Chidambaram found himself in jail. Some even retweeted the same content and said they were waiting for the government to take action against them. Though Puducherry businessman S. Ravi was released soon, he stays defiant. And with word coming in that some other Twitter handles are already under watch, this is one story you haven't heard the last of.
After seditious cartoons against corruption, now even a tweet can get you arrested in India. A small plastic packaging businessman, S. Ravi in Tamil Nadu, learned this the hard way. He was arrested for posting tweets critical of Karti Chidambaram, son of India's finance minister. In his tweets, Ravi questioned the rise of Chidambaram's wealth in recent years. The high-handed action sparked instant outrage on cyberspace, seething after recent government attempts to clamp down on commentary in the social media.
I think people need to understand that you have the rights to criticize, you have the rights to raise a question, but you cannot be judgmental, you cannot be saying that, okay, this is what happened, as if you have been an absolute the witness to what all has been happening around.
Even though the arrest took place on his complaint, Karti Chidambaram remains unapologetic.
The charges that they have applied is 66A of cyber crime, which actually says that if he has hacked somebody's account or if he has changed the information on the internet for some reason to hurt somebody else. But this is not the case that has happened. If he has used his own account, then it is not like that.
He claims he only exercised his constitutional right. Ravi, who some reports claim has been seen in meetings of India against corruption, also remains defiant.
I don't think I have done anything wrong. I have only tweeted what is available in the public domain, and the other tweets are my personal opinion. That's it.
Though Ravi secured bail within 24 hours of arrest, the action is interpreted as another example of the government's inability to tolerate dissent, especially against the powerful. And that lies in the face of the citizens' freedom of expression.
Karti Chidambaram has lodged complaint against few others also for tweeting against him. But there's an outrage amongst the online community over action being taken against freedom of expression in a democratic country. Many are wondering how action is taken immediately when the complainant is rich and powerful, even if it's just about a tweet. With Shabir Ahmed in Chennai and camera person Daniel, this is Priyambada in Puducherry for Headlines Today.
Joining me on the show tonight, live from Puducherry, is S. Ravi. On Twitter, he is Ravi the Indian. He put out that tweet against Karti Chidambaram and immediately there was action. Dr. Subramanian Swamy is promising to help him out. He says he will provide legal aid. And also Sanjay Pinto is joining us. He's an independent lawyer. He'll give us a contrarian perspective. Thank you very much, all of you. I want to go across to S. Ravi first, because life would have changed. You know, from what I know, you had about 17 Twitter followers, and then all of a sudden you put out this one tweet. Were you constantly complaining against Karti Chidambaram, saying things about him, or was this just the first tweet? What led to such a drastic reaction? People are saying all sorts of stuff on Twitter, but you're the only one who went to jail.
Yeah, I just put out I think 3 tweets about only one about Mr. Karti Chidambaram and others are about his father, and the last one I put was on 1910, and prior to that it was about 1912 2011. So that is the thing.
No, so do you know Karti Chidambaram? Do you know Karti Chidambaram well? Are you adversaries? What happened? What led to you being arrested?
I don't know. As you said, I am just a small time Twitter. I just had 16 followers, and out of that 5 are my relatives and my friends. I don't know actually. I don't know. Of course I know Karti Chidambaram. I've seen him on television. I read about him. And I read lot
but you don't know him personally, so there is no personal animosity against Karti Chidambaram.
No, not at all. Even now, not at all. Not at all.
You've never met him?
As a person, I have got nothing against him.
You've never met him?
No, never.
You know, but
no, I have never met him.
Let me just call my producers who put out that tweet once. You know, the offensive tweet, and you're alleging essentially, Mr. Ravi, that Karti Chidambaram's got more money than Robert Vadra. Now, what's the basis of such a charge? Because as an individual, he can turn around and say, that this is grossly defamatory. And how is it that you can say that he's got more money than Robert Vadra? How do you substantiate this?
No, sir, I read a lot of newspapers and it is there out in the public domain everywhere, YouTube, everywhere, and it is for everyone to see. It is for everyone to see. There is a lot of leading back for the last 2 years. Many things have come out, Aircel deal or whatever it is. And many things have come out. I did not create this news. It is only just, if you see the tweet, it is there. God reports. I am just passing it on. That's all.
Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, it's very dangerous to be in India. You put out a cartoon and you can be charged with sedition, and this poor man, he puts out this tweet and then he's arrested the next moment. What do you make of this whole incident? Twitter is abuzz, it's all over social media, on the internet, everybody is talking about Ravi the Indian now.
Well, we have people in power who have a background of being with Mussolini earlier, so it's a natural culture that you can't tolerate criticism. You also please read the defamation law. The defamation law doesn't say anything you say critical or something which is damaging is necessarily defamation. There is something called fair comment. There is something called comment made with good faith. There are a lot of exceptions. And
but how is this a fair comment? Or how is this a comment made in good faith? This is a charge, Dr. Swamy. And as a lawyer, do you not think it is also imperative for anybody who puts out any comment to be able to justify it? Because your freedom ends where the next person's nose begins.
Please learn some law. When a public person is so-called, some critical comments are made of them which he may consider defamatory, let me tell you, the law is that the onus is on him to prove that it is not true. It is not on the individual making the comment. This law has been changed in 1994 by the Indian Supreme Court. It was changed by the American Supreme Court in 1964. And most of the people are still living in the British law of 1871 IPC. That law has changed. Now, what Mr. Ravi has done is just to express an opinion. He has a right to express an opinion in a forum, which is a closed forum in the sense it's a Twitter. He has some followers. They listen to what he says. They want to hear him. And he's expressed it there. Now, Mr. Karti Chidambaram doesn't like that. Then he should go, if he goes to court, then he will have to show that these charges are not true. And I'm sorry to say, he will not be able to prove that this charge is not true. But he has taken this, and here 66A only talks about gross abuse. There's no question of defamation. In defamation, you have a separate law. And finally, there's Article 19, which says you have a fundamental right to speech and for writing, subject to reasonable restrictions. And the court has said very often, opinions are not to be taken so lightly as to run to the police station and get somebody arrested.
Okay, that's the point you're making, Dr. Swamy.
Gross violation of democratic rights.
This is a gross violation of democratic rights, Sanjay Pinto. The message going out tonight is that you can't mess with the rich and the powerful. Not just are they powerful, they're also intolerant, because if you mess with them, you get arrested. Do you not think the manner in which authorities in Puducherry responded to this tweet, and there's so much hate on the internet, S. Ravi getting arrested, is this not a gross overreach being done very clearly at the behest of Karti Chidambaram?
Couple of things I'd like to clarify, Rahul, here. I am not the lawyer for Karti Chidambaram, neither do I represent him, neither am I the lawyer for the Puducherry police or a public prosecutor there. I'm purely an independent lawyer, apolitical. I'd like to make this clear at the outset. Now, I'd also like to make a small correction there. I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, Ravi was actually arrested. He was not put in jail. He was arrested, he was produced before a magistrate, and he was given bail immediately. So I don't think it's correct to say that he landed in jail for that tweet. Having said that, I also think it's important to make a distinction between free speech and hate speech, between well-founded criticism and fair comment that Dr. Swamy rightly said, and gross abuse, between dissent and abuse. Now, what has happened is that there are, under the garb of anonymity, a lot of reckless unsubstantiated, baseless allegations are being made. As far as this tweet is concerned, if Karti Chidambaram felt it was defamatory or it was unsubstantiated, well, he had the option of filing a defamation case. He also had the option of going and filing a police complaint, which he did. Now, it's for the police then to investigate and to invoke a provision of law that they feel fits the particular offense.
No,
or
it's not that simple, Sanjay.
And they have done
it's
that.
Not that simple, and you know it. If you went to the police station and complained that there was somebody with 16 Twitter followers who was saying this about you on Twitter, do you think the police would move with such speed and get you arrested immediately? Come on, now, that's just not fair, because this was Karti Chidambaram rushing to the cops and the cops rushing to arrest Mr. Ravi.
No, that's Rahul. If you tomorrow, as executive editor of Headlines Today, go and give a police complaint in Delhi, I'm sure they'll take action. Sometimes, well, it may be the status of the complainant that also determines the outcome or how swiftly the police act. There are several cases where people have to go and get direction to register an FIR. Now, as far as Ravi Subramaniam's case is concerned, if Karti Chidambaram felt it was defamatory, and perhaps he probably felt that since, it comes close on the heels of the other allegations made by a particular outfit against Robert Vadra, and this is perhaps like an imputation that he's corrupt. Then, of course, well, Karti Chidambaram, it's also up to Mr. Ravi to prove that, to take cover under the first exception or the defamation. Truth is a valid defense there. Also, it's open to him to actually go to the High Court, invoking the inherent powers under Section 482 of the Criminal Procedure Code, and get the complaint quashed. So he does have his safeguards. But I really can't comment on why the police has acted in this manner, or whether they have acted so swiftly, whether it's because of the status of the complainant. It wouldn't be fair for me to comment on that.
No, but that's where, Dr. Swami, the story really lies.
There are also double standards.
Where are the
double standards? No, one second, Rahul. There are double standards. Today, assuming if I completely accept the point, I agree with Dr. Swami to the extent, yes, people in public life should not be prickly pears. They shouldn't be oversensitive. They should take criticism their side. But there is a difference between criticism and an reckless allegation. That is the difference there, really.
You're saying, saying that this is a reckless, unsubstantiated allegation.
Let's say a political leader, one second, I'll just finish. One second. One second. What I want to say is, very quickly, I'll finish. Now, if, let's say, a political leader, I'm not talking about Karti Chidambaram or anyone else, if a political leader gets arrested for some offense and he's out on bail immediately, sometimes the same people will cry foul and say, look, he's out on bail already. So, there are double standards here. Just because somebody is a public figure or a celebrity, we've seen even in Chennai there was a case, it doesn't mean that they're not entitled to their reputation. It's a legal option that they have chosen to exercise in their wisdom, and it's then up to the police to really think. I really wish you had somebody from the Pondicherry.
You've made your case. You made your case, Sanjay. You put out a couple of facts that these allegations are reckless. I'm coming back to you, Sanjay. I'm coming back to you.
The Constitution.
I'm coming back to you. You're saying the allegations are reckless and unsubstantiated. It's a provision of law that Karti Chidambaram has chosen to invoke, Dr. Swami, and if questions are to be asked, they're to be asked of the Puducherry police and not of Karti Chidambaram, because he did what anybody in his position could have. He went and complained to the police because he believed his good reputation had been harmed.
Well, I'm surprised. Again, I told you, the law is changed for public persons. His reputation cannot be sullied by a comment by somebody. Just because he tweeted to 16 people or whatever, his reputation is not affected. And I'm telling you, if he went to the court for defamation, he will have to prove that the charges are not true, and that the person who made the charge made it recklessly, knowing it to be false. That's a very difficult thing to prove. And that is why today increasingly public persons are not able to win defamation cases. And I have applied this in a number of cases where defamation cases were filed by me, by Ramkrishna Hegde, Jayalalitha. So many others have filed, and every one of them lost because of this particular fact that this has been read into the law. In fact, it was read into law because of my own case, where I took it to the Supreme Court.
Ravi, how is life changed for you?
I'm saying that Mr. Karti Chidambaram had no business going on picking on an ordinary citizen. You should pick somebody in politics and fight with them.
Okay.
And then it'll be something.
No, that's a
He
fair
cannot
point.
take
You know, as a
notice of
politician,
somebody
fair enough.
Who says,
That's a fair point.
says that he's made more money.
Sanjay Pinto.
How can you have
Subramaniam Swamy says if you're in politics,
if you start doing these kinds of things?
Karti is in politics. He should be prepared to withstand some allegations. Now he can't go about intimidating, you know, a poor man just because he's Karti Chidambaram, he's the finance minister's son, and the cops will react swiftly to his complaint. He's a politician. He must fight this politically. He shouldn't take this personally. That's the point that Subramaniam Swamy is.
Well, I respect that point of view, but all I'm saying is Karti Chidambaram probably chose to exercise his legal right, his right to constitutional remedies. Now, I must say that I think you need to broaden this debate really. I mean, there's so much of venom being spewed on Twitter. I mean, we all know journalists are attacked all the time. Rahul, I must make this point here. It's important to hear me out really. Today, anybody, it's politically incorrect to say anything remotely critical of the social media. You immediately get pounced on. There's a lot of cyberbullying that's happening. Twitter is being used for a very good cause. There are, for instance, handles like Blood Aid, where, you know, people donate blood and there's a network going on. There are NGOs who use it to good effect. I'm not against the social media. I'm not against the social media. I stand for free speech. But I must here tell you that if people have a problem with the wording of section 66A, and if they feel that it is ultra vires the constitution, that it militates against the concept of free speech, clearly enshrined in Article 19(1)A, it's up to them to go and challenge the constitutionality of this act. But as what the Puducherry police has probably done, they have used the law as it stands. Similarly, I think this is also time to broaden this debate and perhaps also look at whether whether defamation should be decriminalized. This is a larger issue of free speech here, not really one isolated case.
Okay.
I must also concede that going by the overall venom that's spewed on Twitter by certain sections, I don't think that this particular tweet of Ravi Srinivasan really is the best case example of abuse. To me, it seems like an unsubstantiated allegation.
You're saying this is an unsubstantiated allegation, but there are so many of them on TV, there's so many of them on the internet, on social media, and one person, because he's apolitical and he's individual and doesn't have any political backing, has got picked on. Because, for example, Subramaniam Swamy's put out some charges. As of now, they yet need to be substantiated, but nobody's going to arrest him because he's Subramaniam Swamy and people would be scared of him. I want to go across to S. Ravi. Mr. Ravi, do you think because you're just, you know, the mango man, the Aam Admi, therefore the Khas Admi has come against you? You know, he's invoked the power of the police to come against you. He wouldn't do that if Subramaniam Swamy says that and more against him.
Yes, I think so, because the same police, my cousin brother has lost his motorbike. You know, he's still waiting for the FIR to be filed.
They haven't. When did this motorbike get stolen, and how long has it been since this FIR hasn't been registered?
There are so many cases in Pondicherry. You can see where the motorbike is lost.
No, tell me, when did this motorcycle get stolen? Because
it is about more than a year.
You are saying that it was a year ago that your brother's motorcycle was stolen, and even now the Puducherry police has not registered an FIR in this case.
Yes. There are so many, not only my brother, there are so many other instances of that.
But this is very interesting because this really brings out, you know, the divergent attitude of the police, that they respond immediately to a case being filed by a VVIP, whereas in a Mango Man's case is no priority for them. Tell me, Mr. Ravi, how has life changed for you over the last 24 odd hours?
No, I was arrested. The important thing is I was arrested at morning 5 o'clock. The calling bells were ringing. I mean, the amount of trauma that my family went through is not an ordinary one. For 2 hours, they did not know where I was. And my brother, they called up my brother. I just gave my brother's number, and my brother had to search here and there. He has to go to every corner to find out where I am. Of course, the police treated me well. I have to concede that. But the 2 hours, my family, the trauma they went through, and after that, people were telling I will not be able to get it. Is a non-bailable offence. I'll be behind bar for 15 days. I was just wondering the whole day, what did I commit? What wrong did I commit?
You know, it's very ironical that I'm just checking on my smartphone. Your number of followers has now gone up to 976. So that's like a massive jump. Thanks to this controversy, your Twitter following, Mr. Ravi, shooting through the roof now. So you've had your 15 minutes of fame.
I was an ordinary fellow in one corner of India.
If Karti Chidambaram is watching this broadcast, do you wish to apologize to him? Do you wish to say sorry for the tweet that you put out, especially since you don't have the evidence to back the charge?
No, my heart says no.
Do you have any political affiliations, Mr. Ravi?
No, sir, I am just a sympathizer for India against corruption.
So you have no political affiliations at all?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't belong to any party. I'm just a small businessman. I've tweeted only 107 times in the whole of 1.5 years.
I want a quick final comment from Sanjay Pinto. Sanjay, you're saying Karti Chidambaram has invoked the law under 66A, to file this case. But here is Ravi and his brother. 1 year ago, they lost their motorcycle, and yet an FIR hasn't been registered. This is a banana republic-like situation where the mango people are being taken for a ride by our police forces.
No, I said I'm not a spokesperson for the police. This happens. Yes, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. In fact, as I told you even earlier, there are a lot of people who have genuine grievances, who file complaints. They have to go and get a direction from the higher judiciary to actually register those FIRs. I can't really comment on what the Puducherry police has done. All I'm saying is Karti Chidambaram is probably given a complaint. It was a decision of the Puducherry police to invoke a particular section of law. If you have a problem with the wording of that law, yes, there are certain terms like inconvenience and all that, and I think it's up to certain groups or political leaders or parties to then challenge the constitutionality of that act. But you can't really prevent somebody from taking legal recourse, can you? That's the point I'm trying to make here, that's all.
Okay, I'm going to leave it over there. Mr. Ravi, you're probably the first person who's been arrested for putting out a tweet. And I hope you're the last because, as Swami says, you're a politician, you must be prepared to take some criticism. And a law has been invoked. I wish the police acted with the same sort of speed, in the case of your brother who lost his motorcycle and so many other people, who face inconvenience or who have some form of a casualty or a complaint and the cops never act for them. Well, for one, Mr. Ravi, you're no longer an anonymous Indian. Everybody's watched you, they all know you, and I'm sure your Twitter following after this show too will be zooming through. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm going to leave it over there. Thank you very much for joining us. Sanjay Pinto, Subramaniam Swami and S. Ravi. We'll track this story very carefully. Karti Chidambaram is abroad and decided not to join us on this broadcast.